Have you ever met someone who says, "Oh, I don't really do birthdays"? Like zero decorations, no cake, no social media posts, maybe just a quiet dinner if that. You try to wish them a happy birthday and they look uncomfortable. Almost like you just reminded them of something they were trying very hard to forget. Maybe it's you. Maybe this year you didn't feel like celebrating either. You told people you were just tired, but deep down it felt like more than that. Here's the thing. There's actually deep psychology behind why some people don't like celebrating their birthdays. It's not always about being humble or not liking attention. Sometimes it's about identity, memory, and emotion, all tangled together in ways most people never notice. Let's talk about it. First, there's the "it's just another day" mindset. These are the people who treat their birthday like any random Tuesday. No excitement, no drama, just business as usual. Picture this. It's their big day, and their coworker walks in with a cupcake and a candle. Everyone's smiling, someone starts singing, and instead of joining in, they're just standing there thinking, "Please let this be over." Psychologically, this group often scores high on emotional independence. They don't rely much on external validation. Birthdays to them are symbolic of social expectation. Society tells them it's supposed to be special, but people like this resist that idea. They define meaning by their own standards, not tradition. Sometimes, though, "it's just another day" is their way of downplaying something deeper. If they grew up in a home where birthdays weren't celebrated, or worse, were forgotten, they might have learned early on that it's safer not to expect anything. So instead of feeling disappointed, they preempt the emotion by treating it like it doesn't matter. It's a protective mechanism disguised as nonchalance. Then there's the nostalgia avoider. You know that person who hates looking at old photos because they can't decide whether they miss that version of themselves or resent it? That's this type. For them, birthdays are time markers, a reminder that another year has passed. Not in a motivational, "wow, look how far I've come" way, but more like, "how did I get here this fast?" Psychologically, they're highly introspective, sometimes too introspective. Birthdays trigger a kind of existential self-audit. It's not about aging, it's about facing the parts of themselves they feel haven't changed enough. The unfulfilled dreams, the old versions of themselves they never fully said goodbye to. So instead of celebrating, they avoid it. Not because they dislike being alive, but because the day amplifies every unresolved question they've been quietly living with. The irony? These people often seem fine. They might even smile when you wish them a happy birthday. But internally, it's a quiet storm, a mix of gratitude and guilt, pride and regret. Now, the anti-spotlight personality. Ever notice how some people physically recoil when attention turns to them? Like they'd rather disappear into the floor than make a wish in front of everyone. This type genuinely finds celebration stressful. It's not about modesty, it's about social energy. Birthdays are performative. They require you to play a role, the happy birthday person. You're supposed to be cheerful, grateful, photogenic, and engaged all at once. For introverts or anyone with social anxiety, that's exhausting. Psychologically, this ties to self-consciousness and impression management. These individuals are hyper-aware of how others perceive them. Every happy birthday feels loaded with expectation, like they must respond correctly, not seem ungrateful, not ruin the vibe. They might celebrate privately later, maybe watch their favorite movie or take a quiet walk, because solitude makes them feel genuine rather than performative. Then there's the emotional minimalist. They're not sad, antisocial, or nostalgic. They just don't attach emotion to dates. They think in systems and logic more than symbolism. For them, birthdays are arbitrary. Why celebrate this specific 24-hour period, they argue, when I could celebrate life whenever I want? And honestly, that's not wrong. Psychologists would call this a trait of low sentimental attachment. These people often have a big picture worldview. They value consistency of meaning over socially assigned milestones. They also tend to score higher in emotional regulation. They don't get carried away by excitement or disappointment. The upside, they're grounded, calm, and self-reliant. The downside, sometimes they miss out on emotional connection, those small shared moments that build warmth and memory. Finally, there's the invisible celebrator. They do celebrate, just not publicly. No big parties, no balloons, no social media shout-outs. Maybe they light a candle alone, journal, or do something symbolic in private. For them, birthdays are sacred, not social. They see it as a day of gratitude, reflection, and realignment. Something spiritual, even. Psychologically, this is a sign of introverted significance. These people don't reject celebration, they redefine it. They crave authenticity over attention. The noise of a traditional birthday feels distracting from the meaning of it all. They might not tell you it's their birthday because they don't want anyone to interrupt their inner ritual, their moment of checking in with who they are becoming. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Across all these types, a pattern emerges: control. People who don't celebrate their birthdays usually want to control the meaning of their experiences. They don't want society, friends, or family dictating what happiness should look like on that day. To them, celebration isn't automatic. It's earned, internal, personal. Sometimes it's healing, sometimes it's avoidance. But always it's honest. Maybe you recognize yourself in one of these descriptions. Maybe you're remembering someone who quietly slipped out of their own birthday dinner halfway through. So the next time someone says, "I don't really do birthdays," don't assume they're being cold or aloof. That silence might be their language for something much deeper, a personal statement about meaning, memory, and emotion. Because for some people, not celebrating isn't a lack of joy. It's their way of saying, "This day is mine, and I'll decide how it matters." Which type are you? And if this made you think a little differently about yourself or someone you care about, stick around. There are so many other quiet patterns like this, hiding in plain sight, waiting to reveal how our minds really work.